Hi everyone, this is Marge Clark, your guest lecturer or visitor or whatever. Julia asked me to talk about how we source essential oils, and I had to laugh because there's a disclaimer. In January, I was asked to write an article for the AIA, Alliance of International Aromatherapists journal, that's coming out next week on or around March 1st. The topic, sourcing. Okay, so first I had to get permission from their editor, and I'm going to try to tell you some things I didn't write about. And to learn what I did write about, well, you should join AIA, the professional organization with an emphasis on research and education. It's my favorite professional organization, but don't tell the people in NAHA that I said that. Anyway, please be aware right now, initially, I'm not talking about the home user because I was asked how we source oils. So I'm talking to the professional, the person who can and should be buying in bulk. 16 fluid ounces, a half kilo at a time, up to way more than that, either for blending, for manufacturing, or for reselling. If you're buying in smaller quantities, come to me. Come to a known good reseller. But if you're looking for kilos, these are some hints. First of all, you have to find suppliers, any suppliers. I think back when I started, there was a group of us, and we bought with trepidation from the only companies we know of. That was Liberty Natural, don't laugh, and a very nice man in the United Kingdom called John Black. I do not remember his company. Some of what he said we later learned didn't add up. But we didn't know that because we were all new and just starting. We swapped resources, and when we found a new source, we asked for samples, or one of us would buy and we would swap samples. I understand a lot of you still do that, and that's a great way to learn. Do it. You can encounter some good and not so good sources on Facebook. Join and pay attention in the distillers group. The problem is really good producers don't have much time to share there. Other sources, ways to find sources. Go to the AIA and the NAHA conferences. There's one every year in the fall. AIA is this year in Wisconsin, Minnesota, somewhere in the north central states. NAHA is the following year in Salt Lake City. Go, browse the vendors' booths, listen to the presenters, visit with people, listen. You will hear names, you will hear sources, you will hear good feedback, you will hear, stay away from them. Pay attention when you hear two people talking. Eavesdrop. It's amazing what you can learn by eavesdropping. International conferences, Botanica, held every year in the United Kingdom. If you can attend, I envy you. Physically, it's just a bit too much for me right now, so every year I want to go. I read the list of presenters, and I'm frustrated because I can't go. Thank you, Bonnie. Anyway, if you can't go, every year they invite 3 artists and distillers to present at the conference. Check the list of past presenters. We were delighted the first year they did that to find some of our suppliers included. Every year I look at the list. Oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. So those are known, reputable international sources. You can even ask others in the industry. Sometimes we'll share our source, sometimes we won't. It never hurts to ask. But if I'm buying from somebody somewhere in Asia, in India or Thailand or Nepal, and I'm buying 15 kilos at a time, you might do better to ask me to resell. But ask, and sometimes I'll share, and sometimes I'll say, I'm sorry, no. Because truly, who our suppliers are is our greatest asset. And I think every reputable reseller will say the same thing. Our supplier list is the thing that we have to keep if the building burns down. Everything else can be replaced, but I can't lose my good suppliers. Okay, the process. If you have a website that indicates that you resell oils, you will be contacted by vendors out of the blue. Many of them, most of them, not all of them, are mass market suppliers offering the lowest price. My instinct is to run the other way. We aren't looking for cheap here, we're looking for beautiful, and the two seldom go together. That's quotable. That should be an infographic. We're not looking for cheap, we're looking for beautiful, and the two seldom go together. Also, I have just remembered, we have been contacted by buyers. Yeah, Lola says cold callers. I've had some cold callers that were worth taking the call, but very few. Anyway, I will ask a supplier for a GC, and they will ask me what percentage of, let's say, 1.8 CNEO do you want in your oil? Which says to me that whatever I say I want, they will rectify it or adjust it or fiddle with it to give me exactly the chemical breakdown that I want. I don't want people doing that to my oils. I want them to distill them, bottle them, ship them to me. I don't want them tinkering. So that's another. If they ask, if they offer to make it to suit your needs, run the other way. Okay, if the person who contacted me is, number one, offering an oil that grows well in their area, because terrain matters, I might want to follow up. In following up, I will, number one, request a GCMS from them and request a sample. Number two is more important than number one. The sample is what makes or breaks them initially. Experience the sample. Sample. We'll talk about this later. This was a sample. This is a scent strip dipped. This is the first and most important indicator of quality. If you have smelled enough oils, you will both develop a too good to be true button, and you will learn the difference between a round, well-balanced oil and one that is just aromatically off, too sharp, too flat, boring, too something. And then we say, thank you, but no thanks. An example, here it is, Inula graveolens. Maybe I can open it. Here, I can open it. A generous sample from a new supplier. Inula, I used to buy Inula from my French mentor, who tells me that since Inula in France is only available by prescription in the pharmacy, the growers and distillers aren't growing it anymore. Some of them are planting oak trees for the truffles or something. At any rate, I am having to source Inula from countries other than France. And when I heard that this artisan distiller offered it, I was excited. I got a GC. I don't know enough chemistry to know what makes Inula as effective for dry respiratory issues, to loosen up a dry cough. That's what Inula graveolens is for, and it's wonderful for that. I don't know what makes it worse, but I got this sample. Let me get a scent strip. Nice, generous sample, easy to dip a scent strip, and it doesn't smell right. It's got a sharp edge to it. It's disappointing. And I say, thank you, but no thank you. I'll keep looking. And it's a shame because I don't know if we have any French Inula left. If we do, we're very low. I was excited to get that. No, not this time. Maybe next time. That's a thank you, but no thank you. One thing, when you sit with a sample, this is a scent strip. Do not ever, ever, ever do this. Watch me. Don't smell an oil from the bottle. Everybody who's been at our booth at NAHA or AIA has seen me say, smell the cap. The inside of the cap gives you a closer view of the oil than smelling from the bottle. I'm not sure why. I think from the bottle you get more top notes. From the cap you get the whole thing. This is how you smell an oil. This is a scent strip. You can take white blotter paper, probably construction paper would do, something that's not glossy and slick, and cut it into strips, always white because you want to see the color. And you sit with it. You sit with it. You just sit with it. That's how you experience it. Okay, more about how to experience oils later if there's time. If we love the sample and it's a new to us supplier, we will either have the sample tested, or occasionally, if I've been chatting back and forth for a good while with the producer, and I believe they're who they say they are, will send their GC to a chemist I trust and say, is this what it should be? I've had chemists save me from disasters for years just by reading a producer or a supplier and other vendor's GC and red flagging something that I didn't know enough to reject. And that happens with GCs from well-known resellers in the US, big commercial resellers. If I can't find something and they have it, I'll get a GC, I'll send it to a chemist, and they'll say, Marge, this shouldn't have this, and it shouldn't have that, and where did that come from? And I won't even bother with a sample. So, but if the chemist says the GC looks right, then we arrange to import. And we have an agreement in writing that if the purchased oil doesn't pass third-party testing, we'll be able to get our money back, because getting a refund internationally from a new supplier can be challenging. Even from an established supplier, it takes a while. After ordering, okay, we have gotten this wonderful size sample. This one wonderful sample, let me find. These are samples of some wood oils that we dipped a week ago, and they're still strong and potent. Anyway, after ordering, this is what happens. Once we agree on the product and place our orders, and for new suppliers, we arrange a funds transfer in advance. Then we wait, and we wait, and we wait. Y'all know how patient I am. Not customs clearance. This can be a nightmare. One question we are always asked: what is the end use for the product? Folks, for us, it's resale. We're buying it to make it available to you. Saying resale is not a good answer. Our experience is that saying, write this down, for room fragrancing only, not for ingestion by humans or animals, is a stock phrase that sometimes helps cut through the red tape. Write that down. At times, I have some suppliers who will include that in their paperwork. It helps avoid governmental interference by some of my least favorite agencies. How's that for tact? I'm trying to be tactful today. Finally, arrival, then a whole new process. Jim weighs out a kilo of that oil and measures it, so we will know how many mLs that kilo contains, because normally speaking, we buy by the kilo, but we sell by the mLs. We send 2 mLs off to one of the 2 labs we use, either Phytochemia up in Canada, Yongnyo, Benoit, or Essential Validation Services. My friend Adam down in Florida, they are true independent third-party labs. They're the only labs in the US that I will use. Okay, when the GC comes back, if it's Phytochemia, we send their GC to my virtual assistant to do a breakdown for the front page, because their GCs are really, really hard to read. Adam makes it easy, but they are both wonderful chemists. If you're testing oils, I would recommend either one of them. Okay, caveats, warnings. I talk about being contacted by producers or resellers from all over the world. There are 2 companies that I just delete the solicitations and ads unread: India and China. The odds are stacked against you in dealing with both of these countries. You have a greater risk of receiving adulterated product from producers in these 2 countries than just about anywhere else in the world. That is my experience, and I know others have shared that experience as well. I have one supplier in India who I trust. We've worked with him for years. But recently, we've had to reject a long list of his products. Absolutes have been produced with contaminated solvents. I've been told that the water used in irrigation is so often contaminated that the plants absorb the phthalates. I respect this one supplier I work with because after having a long list of absolutes found contaminated, he is now having one of the 2 labs I've mentioned work with to test his oils rather than the Indian lab that worked with him. He had worked with in the past. And the Canadians are finding contamination where his lab said there was no problem. I respect his willingness to face the problem and deal with it. But I'm quite sure that others are still buying the products that we rejected. So buyer beware from both those countries. Now, for the home user. How do you source the best oils? And what constitutes best? Purity is understood. The oil has to be pure. A good supplier will give you a test proving that the oils are what they should be. But yes, Marcia, at one point I said wood oils. If there's time later, I'll talk about our Chinese oils that are the exception to the rule. Anyway, let me go on. Purity. Your supplier should be able to offer you a test proving that the oil is what they say it is. But there's exceptions to every rule. There's one company that I know of that doesn't test their oils. Original Swiss Aromatics, Kurt Schnabel's company. With Kurt's 30 plus years in the industry and his worldwide network of suppliers, I would trust his oils implicitly. They're not affordable to buy for resale. So he's the exception of you need to know they're pure rule. But other than Kurt, yes, there should be a batch-specific analysis. But the GC only proves that it's pure. Quality does not equal purity. You can have commercially grown plants harvested too early or too late because the whole field is sort of ready, so we harvest the whole field. Some are overripe, some aren't ripe, but we'll harvest them all. Distilled for too short a time because fuel costs money. You can have a pure, mediocre bottle of Drek. So purity alone is the minimum standard. Okay, given that, how do you judge? Lola, you agree with me. Pure mediocre dreck. We've all had it. Okay, how to judge a supplier? What I really want to say is just buy from Nature's Gift. That solves your problem. But in all honesty, no single supplier has the best of every oil. The good suppliers, the really good ones, try though. That might be the difference. They buy what they love, not what they can save money on. How would I judge a supplier? If I were a retail customer, knowing what I know now, all things being equal, I would prefer a company who has been in business for at least 10 years, preferably longer. But there are some excellent newer companies and some mediocre old ones. Look for a company that was founded by people who love the oils, not by people looking to jump on a new trendy way to make money. Look for a company whose About Us file has real names of real people, not just marketing hype giving their philosophy and how they travel to the source, but you don't know who they are. I don't want to deal with a company. I want to deal with a real live person. Look for companies whose founders are educated and continue to educate themselves, not just people who have hired some bright, shiny 200-hour certified ATs to answer questions, but people whose founders love the oils, know the oils, and continue to study about the oils. Look for companies. My phone is blocking my notes. Look for companies that will let you have samples, either for free or for a minimal cost. Get samples of the same oil from more than one supplier and see which sample speaks to you. Does this mean that all the oils will be best for you? Not necessarily, but you'll know where to source your sweet orange or your lemon or your frankincense sacra or your diluted rose oil, because you will have sampled those from as many sources as you could find and compared them. Look for a company who gives back to the aromatic community, either by donations where appropriate, money, or product. The United Aromatherapy effort, we've been donating to them since 2001. By active membership in professional organizations. Are they members of AIA and NAHA, or at least one, or in Canada, of the Canadian organizations? Do they teach and share their experience willingly and openly, just like this? Companies that share their experience on Facebook, in groups across the board, not just in their own private space, but for anyone who wants to learn from them, anyone who wants to ask questions. Look for a company who doesn't just say they source internationally or from many different sources, but who actually seems to. One way to tell that, a company that runs out of a product, well, they're waiting for the next harvest. They're probably buying from a producer. If we never run out of anything, that means we're stocking from some huge commercial warehouse supplier. There are differences. There's differences. If you get the samples, you'll tell the difference. Whoops, hold on a minute. There, something just dropped. Okay. Look for a company that gives good answers to your questions, that is not just trying to sell you a product when you ask a question. Ask about a use that you know is unsafe and see what response you get. My 6-month-old has a horrible cold. Can I do a chest rub with eucalyptus for him? Ask that. See what they say. Ask the infamous cancer question. Y'all know what that is, don't you? My phone just fell down. Tell Candace the mount didn't hold. Okay, the infamous cancer question. Sorry, everyone. My sister, wife, me, daughter, mother, just got diagnosed with cancer of the fill in the blank. Which of your frankincense oils should I take? That's the infamous cancer question. See what they tell you. If they offer to sell you oils, run away. If they suggest that you might be able to give her some emotional support, if she's having chemo, you might be able to help with nausea, that sort of thing. They probably are reputable and they probably know what they're talking about. I just don't want you to be buying from people who are dealing with these beautiful oils just to make a fortune, because that's not what it's about. Above all, trust your nose, educate your nose, get samples of geranium from Eastern Europe, from India, from China, from South Africa, from Egypt, from Madagascar, all these places. Compare them. Which one speaks to you? Take the scent strips. No, these are not geranium, but this is what you do. You sit with this, and then you sit with that. And then you sit with that, and you see which one speaks to you. Experience the differences in the so-called same oil. Learn to sit with a new oil and feel it. Close your eyes. No sounds. No interruptions. Sometimes that's easier said than done. See if and where you feel it. Just like this. But take some time. Give it a few minutes. Sometimes an oil will be all up in your head, very cerebral. Sometimes you'll feel it in your heart, down in your second chakra. Y'all have read my description of our black sakura. The first time I sat with a scent strip of that, I felt hugged. If you saw Liz Ashley's webinar, my experience with our rose when I sat with it, I felt like I was being wrapped with a great big white down comforter. Take the time, sit with it. You will learn to detect differences, and you will have so much joy on your journey. Now, that's all that I had prepared. I had discussed sharing some of the retailers that I would trust implicitly, and several people that I shared that idea with said, Marge, you're shooting yourself in your foot. They've got enough business. Don't give them more. Y'all know who you are. I love you. People who pay attention to me on Facebook know the other suppliers that I respect. You can take it from there. I asked Julia if I could tell you this story about sourcing. 3 or 4 years ago, we offered some agar wood from Indonesia. It was from our, yes, what Julia said, come back to the scent strip hours later, tomorrow. That's what the wood strips are about. I'll talk to you about those later after I talk about agar wood. I dipped these scent strips Saturday. I can still smell them. They're beautiful. More about them later. Agar wood. A few years ago, we ordered agar wood. I'm not an agar wood fan. I'm sorry. I don't appreciate it. It was from trees that were 12 to 15, 10 to 15 years old. It was from somebody I trusted. I tested it. It was what it should be. I offered it. Our Chinese wholesale customers bought it all. I sold a little bit in the U.S., but it's very expensive. This autumn, my supplier in Thailand said, the price of agar wood has come down, and I have some oil from 20 to 25-year-old trees, ethically farmed, CITES certificate, sustainably grown. I went, oh. He sent me samples. I went, oh. Oh my. Agar wood is infamously expensive and normally not ethically grown. So I put the word out to my Chinese wholesale clients who have been 2 years saying, Marge, what about agar wood? What about agar wood? They committed. And with what we did, he sent me samples, several samples. I chose the one that we were known to import. And he said, what I will do, I will travel to the distiller. I will take out a sample for you to test and seal the container under my seal. You can have it tested. I swear to you that test will be what I ship you. So I had it tested, and it was agar wood. I bought 4 kilos. 4 kilos were over $50,000. I put it out to my Chinese wholesale clients, and I had orders for more than I had imported. So I wrote to him. There was another 1.5 kilos of that same batch that he had held because he thought I might want it. That other 1.5 kilos arrived today. We poured all but 4 ounces in 15-ounce bottles because our wholesale clients in China do not want small bottles. They either want large bulk sizes or they want 15 ml. So we poured over 100, I think Jim said 140 15 ml bottles. 100 of those are already committed, and I know I can sell the rest of them to China. I saved out 4 ounces and put it on our website. I have not yet done a 10% dilution. If people ask for it, I'll do that. It's horrifically expensive, but it is available on our website right now. So if you want agar wood, we have it in 2, 5s, and 15s. This is an agar wood scent strip. I was nervous before we started this, and even dropping my phone on the floor, it calmed me down. We will finally be able to do our meditation blend again. This is the most stunning agar wood I have ever experienced. I probably will get more from a different batch after it goes through the testing. That was October. This is, in fact, that was September when we started. This is now late February. Sometimes it takes that long to source the perfect specimen of something. This is, in my experience, the perfect agar wood. I don't know if any other batches will be. Even my friend in Nepal said this is extraordinary. He had smelled other batches. This one was special. We got every last drop, so it's available on the website. It will not last long because I'm going to have to ship it to China. I'd rather ship it to some of you. Okay, I talked about not trusting Chinese sources. The only oils that we buy that are Chinese are whole wood, which is cinnamon, camphora, chemotype linalool that grows only in China. What else? Oh, osmanthus grows in China, but we have had to reject some batches of osmanthus, again, because phthalates were in them. Either they were in the solvent or the water used was contaminated and the flowers absorbed the phthalates from the water. At any rate, we had to reject it. We've gotten fresh samples from a different supplier and have sent them for testing. But I don't buy Chinese oils. You know, I do a lot of wholesale business in China. They love me. Being old helps. They respect old people. Anyway, one of my wholesale clients told me he is just starting his own line of Chinese wood oils, some of them very old, from 100-year-old trees. And he sent me samples. I can't read the manufacturer's name because it's in Mandarin. If you read Mandarin, if you read Mandarin, I do. No, I can't do that to my client. I would love to go directly to the source, but he found me the source. So if he can arrange to export them, I will buy directly from him because he found them. What did we have? We had Siam wood, which I've lost the scent strip. It's here somewhere. I'll just do this. You know, people describe aromas and they use the word powdery. And I always said, yeah, right. I never knew what powdery meant. Siam wood, let me know what powdery means. Hi, Liz. Hi, Sue. It's a wood, but it's soft and sweet and powdery. I don't have a price yet. I hope it's affordable. Incense cedar. It's here somewhere. This is the scent strip from last Sunday. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just completely beautiful. I know some U.S. suppliers who are selling incense cedar. One of them is Kurt Schnabel. He may be buying it from this supplier. I need to get a sample of his and compare. But if I can buy some of these from my wholesale client in China, then we can offer some very rare, very unusual Chinese wood oils. And that was serendipity. He found them. He offered. Yeah, why not? And the samples were beautiful. That's all I know about sourcing. Are there questions? I'm scrolling through. I see lots of people watching, lots of comments. If somebody has any comments, I can answer them. If not, I think we're done. I've really appreciated the invitation. I've appreciated the opportunity to talk about our processes and what we look for. Thank you all. Jennifer Jeffries is here. Do you know, have you read about Jennifer's aromatic incense? Aromatic insight cards. Hold on a minute. Have you seen these? Let me get this box open. We have some cards. We have some videos of these on our Instagram or our YouTube page. But these are the aromatic insight cards. Can you see the deck? Do I have time? I have 9 more minutes. I'm supposed to talk for an hour. These are how the aromatic insight cards work. You set your intent or you ask a question, and you can do some traditional readings with 3 cards or 5 cards. I don't even have a question today, but I've got a card I'm pulling at random, and we'll see what the random card's message for today is. The card is Pomarosa. which is a lovely oil, similar to rose geranium, very rosy scented. But what do the cards say? The message for Palmarosa is adaptability. For example, when your phone falls off the mountain, you catch it and keep right on going. Adaptability is the message for the day. The metaphysical benefits. Sometimes we hang on to things so tight that they almost break, masking insecurities that conceal past hurts. Palmarosa allows you to embrace change and let go, and then you can truly move forward and grow. We live in an ever-changing environment where we have to let go of some old to provide a space for some new. If we are constantly growing and adapting to the changes in life, success is assured. Life will always be exciting. Shift your consciousness to a place where you are comfortable and enjoy being versatile, going with the changes that life brings. And that is the message of the day. I love that phrase about holding on to things, because my experience, and I suspect this is a spiritual law, if I have things, whether they're people or a situation or a job or anything that I am holding on to, I'm holding on to it this tight, then I am not open to receive the gifts that the Creator has for me. And for me, I have to make it a spiritual exercise to spend part of each day with my hands open, to stop holding on to things and be open for the gifts that are coming. And with that, I think we're out of time. Thank you all so much. I have loved doing this. If you have any further questions, you know my email. You know how to catch up with me. I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you again. Bye-bye.